Welcome to the Kindness Project, the podcast designed to share stories of kindness and share how kindness can make positive change in our world, one small act at a time.
This week on the Kindness Project, we talk about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, hybrid creatures, and we are joined by Joshua Cartwright, author of Is Self-Esteem Just a Big Con?
And welcome to the Kindness Project. So we start again. I'm joined by a girl who is one movie into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's Charlotte James.
And I'm joined by a man who's half a movie away from the end of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's Chris Dames.
I'm on the end game. I've gone through Black Panther, I've gone through Ant-Man and the Wasp, I've gone through Thor Ragnarok, and I am now in a position where...
Okay.
Yeah, we've got audio.
Sorry, I had to check.
It gets desperate when you're running a podcast and you've just got to check for the audio every time, but we're there on that, aren't we?
Yeah, well, he's halfway through Endgame, and I've decided to watch them in chronological order based on the content. Oh my god, it's really... So I've just finished Captain America, the First Avenger.
So you're not watching it in order they were made, you're watching it in order of when they were set.
Yeah.
Endgame will blow your mind then, because it's all about time travel. They visit every single
I know,
part.
I've seen Infinity War.
Okay.
It was on in the library at school.
And we're joined by our very own kindness and mindful superhero. It's Joshua. How are you, mate?
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm fine. It's a lovely sunny morning, and I hear you, man. When I got Disney Plus too, just binged all the way through it.
You know what? I'm not normally. You know what? I am a binge watcher of documentaries normally, but fiction, I'm not a big binge watcher of. I know you love a box set, but I typically don't. But the Marvel movies are getting me at the minute, which brings us on to our question of the podcast, which I've been a bit lackadaisical. It's actually a word, that. Today, because I've only just posted it. But can you tell us who your favourite superhero is and why? And let's do some Sunday morning shout-outs. Shout-out to Justin. Shout-out to Steph. Hope you're doing well, Steph. Shout-out to Russ. Shout-out to Stephen Stewart. And shout-out to Kelly for joining us this morning. Really appreciate it. Who's your favourite
My
superhero?
favourite... Well, I'm not really that into superheroes, but you asked that question, I'm like, superheroes? But I quite like... I was going to say Black Widow, because I saw this one scene where she broke out of that chair and it was...
Black Widow?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
She's not a super, but she's a hero.
No, fair enough. I like it. I actually... Weirdly, I think they paint the characters of the supervillains sometimes better than the superheroes.
Yes, villains are always better than heroes. It's just not in like...
She says on a podcast about kindness.
Not in morality ways, but the heroes aren't as well constructed as the villains.
Yeah, there's always an interesting backstory.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry, Loki is such a cool character.
True. So, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he switches, doesn't he? So, it's a bit more complex. Joshua, who's your favourite superhero?
It's funny, actually. I mean, I like Captain America because he's a really good guy, but I really like, Iron Man because Tony Stark is always pushing the boundaries of what can be done. So if I could have a mix of the two, I'd take both of them. But if I had to choose one, it would be Captain America.
You know what?
He's just trying to do the right thing, you know?
No, I love it. I've got a bit of a attraction to the underdog story.
Yeah.
So for me, why did you roll your eyes at that? For me, Ant-Man. Just genius, absolute genius, and like sort of the fact that they put retro stuff into the Ant-Man films, the massive Thomas the Tank Engine in the first Ant-Man movie was amazing.
I like Banner, not a Hulk, Banner.
Who would you go for? Who would you have around for dinner, Banner or the Hulk?
Both.
But in the last one, he is both.
Yeah, I know.
So that's all good. So unofficial
Haven't
question.
seen it, but I know that.
Official question of the podcast is who's your favourite superhero? Unofficial question of the podcast
who's your favourite villain?
Who's your favourite super villain? There's only one choice for me: Magneto from the X-Men. Yeah. Who's your favourite villain, Joshua?
It's a good question. I mean, what the lady was saying is true. The villains are often better drawn than the heroes. I mean, even what's his name, Steppenwolf from Justice League. It was all about, I have to do this thing and it's right. Well, actually, no, it's not right. You're a psycho. But he had a reason for doing what he does. Whereas some of the superheroes, they're just good.
Yeah.
But
That's why I like Frankenstein.
Magneto's probably one of the more interesting ones, because throughout the films he tries to be good and he tries to sort of live a life not using his powers, and he just gets knocked down again and again. Eventually he just goes bad, and it's really understandable. You can empathise with that.
Yeah, true. So what did you say your favourite villain was?
No, that's one of the reasons I like Frankenstein, because he's trying to get his head around it, and he can't really understand humanity, and he just kind of wants the person who made him to pay attention to him, and then when he realises he's driven the person who made him to death, he kind of goes off and kind of makes
that is turning up at a future introduction for the Kindness Project podcast. I'm going to just say
I'm a Frankenstein sympathiser.
The girl who sympathises with Frankenstein, it's Charlotte Davis.
Just because he killed the man's wife.
Just. Can you if people do want to get in touch with us, where can they get in touch with us to let us know their answer to who their favourite superhero is?
Right, yes. So, if you're currently watching this, you're on our Facebook. Ta-da! But if you're not currently watching this and you're listening to this, you'll probably be listening to this, 3 months later?
Maybe.
So you can find us on the
Internet.
Kindness Project podcast Facebook page, and the likelihood is you will probably find this live somewhere on that page.
Yeah.
We have a Twitter at @OlaKindness.
Yeah.
We have a email, ola@thekindnessproject.co.uk. Yes. We have a website, which is The Kindness Project. If you just search it, it'll come up.
Anything else?
I'm trying to remember if I covered everything.
All of the
MySpace, Friends Reunited.
Friends Reunited, we're not on anymore because apparently that's gone now. Yeah, LinkedIn. Why would we be on LinkedIn? We should be on LinkedIn. But what you can do is listen to every single episode of every single previous Kindness Project, and there's now 118 episodes. Apparently quite a lot of people enjoy it nowadays. So we are, you can listen to all of them if you'd like to. And we've had some amazing guests talking about the amazing work they're doing in the world, so feel free to do that. Or if you wanted to, if you were a Kindness Project super fan, because apparently
send a pigeon.
Send a pigeon? What's that? When's the last time we were sending pigeons? Send a letter.
By pigeon.
By pigeon. We only accept communication via pigeon now, alright?
They must have a name as well.
Yeah, and their name must be Captain Pigeon. But yeah,
Pigeon Man.
If it's not half man, half pigeon, and the wings have got to be pigeon, the rest has got to be man. We will not accept.
Can you imagine a little pigeon?
We will not read out your message live.
Can you imagine a little pigeon? Except it's entirely a pigeon, except the legs. It's just a human legs for another.
No, what I want to see is a human and then just pigeon legs. That's what I want to see. I think that'd be better. Unofficial question of the podcast, and we're coming to you on this one as well, Joshua. What is your favourite animal-human combination? What would you go for?
I don't know.
Well,
the Minotaur's pretty cool.
Animal-human combination. Okay. I mean, I know we've got Aquaman, but I think the idea of maybe a human combined with let's sort of think. A human combined with a shark.
Oh. Yeah, but what parts what? That's the problem.
They can hunt, they can detect stuff. I don't know. I mean, it's such a random question, but I think that's what comes to mind. A human with gills. There you go.
A human with gills.
Well, there's actually this thing. It's because I love mythology, and I was going down. Centaurs are half human, half horse, and I found this thing. It's part human, part horse, part fish.
Look, as I said, I'm a bit of a fan of the underdog. So give me an animal you wouldn't normally suspect to go in. I'm going half man, half squirrel.
I was thinking pigeon, parrot, parakeet.
So we'll wait for your half and half
Or snake.
answers. Half man, half snake could be cool. Yeah. But what we do promise to do, Joshua, we're going to come to you and interview you in about 5 minutes. I want to tell you a little bit about our friend Dave Forsdyke and his silver linings. So, Joshua, just so you know, Dave's been doing this for about a month since we've been in lockdown, and every day he sends us stories of people doing amazing stuff in the world. So we love it on the Kindness Project, and Dave's really helped us out in terms of giving us a bit of content that we can read out every day, which is useful. Does us a job. So thanks, Dave. We really appreciate it. Apparently, there's one sport flourishing in the lockdown, and that starts. Friday saw the first of 32 consecutive nights of world-class darts in the PDC Home Cup. So there's people playing darts at home, and then I suppose like doing it via Zoom.
That's fun.
I can't imagine, apart from potentially e-sport, like sort of
World of Warcraft.
Sport, World of Warcraft and stuff like that, any other sports that you can play at home? Maybe chess. What are you? Any ideas, Joshua? Anything from you, sports-wise?
Gosh, yeah. I mean, you could shoot hoops inside, I guess.
Could they?
I know that. I mean, it's not a sport, but my kids have started. I found a pen pal letter that someone sent me from 1982. I mean, literally, I only found it a few days ago, and they got inspired, and they're sort of writing letters to each other, flashing them on WhatsApp, and sending them off.
Oh, I love that.
But in terms of sports, yeah, mini golf. You could do that inside.
Mini golf, yeah. You could set up your own course.
Hardcore.
Really? Yeah, but once you've jumped over your sofa 12 times, what else are you going to do?
Jump on the dining table.
Oh, you know what? Did I tell you what happened the other day?
What?
I think I mentioned it on Friday's podcast, so apologies if you were watching on Friday and I mentioned it again. I went out for my sort of social isolated run and took Sophie out on the bike the other day. Run all the way. We were lucky enough to have a county park around the back of the house, so ran all the way to what's now a closed bird sanctuary, and they've got benches and a cafe and stuff like that, but it's all cold. The benches are there, and I started jumping on it was just me and Sophie, I was just jumping on the bench for a bit of exercise and jumping back down, and she just went to me, "Dad, I'm going to ride on. You are the most embarrassing dad ever." Well, I knew that already, so that wasn't really really bad news. I think I pride myself actually on being as embarrassing as possible. Joshua, are you any good at being an embarrassing dad?
Oh well, my daughter Heather, who's now 25, she told me that I only officially grew up in my mid-30s because she'd be the sensible one walking down the street, and I'd be jumping on the walls. I mean, who doesn't like walking on the walls? You know, you jump and you balance, and then you find the posts, and you jump between the posts, and yeah, she just get really embarrassed. I love embarrassing my children. I believe it's every father's duty to do that.
I reckon so as well, mate.
I'm going to do it for all my kids.
So you can check out the official PDC YouTube channel with all of the home PDC cups, and again, Dave shouted out to Captain Tom Moore, who is up to, according to this email, I think he's on a lot more than this.
This was 2 hours ago. Probably out of date.
This was 2 hours ago, so it's definitely out of date. 2 hours ago, he's up to 25 million, and I've got a feeling that that's going up and up and up and up. So thank you, Tom Moore, for raising all that money for NHS charities, and you can find out about where that money goes you can find out where that money goes on www.nhscharitietogether.co.uk. That's amazing stuff. And he's still raising money, so you can go if you wanted to donate to Captain Tom. You can go to www.justgiving.co.uk. A few other ones from Dave. The Oval Tavern in Croydon has found ways to keep its regulars and their children engaged during the long lockdown. Online live music, children's stories, and a virtual festival are being enjoyed by the pub community. A doctor in Baltimore is delivering kits to frontline medical staff to help them cope wearing PPE all day. Now, I don't know whether this doctor is half man, half doctor.
I was thinking there's a vet, but sure.
So you're thinking vet, I'm thinking half man, half doctor. The likelihood is he's probably a dog with some bandages that he's just delivering.
Oh!
Yeah. But I like the idea of animals helping us out. Oh, like that, like it was never that. What did you assume?
I assumed it was just a vet who just treated dogs.
Right, okay. And apparently Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber is at it again, and he's...
he is, yeah.
Did you and Mum watch Jamie? There's something about Jamie.
Oh, we were going to, but the version that had the best quality was taken down, so we ended up watching Edward Scissorhands.
Oh, good choice. On Disney Plus.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay, good stuff. Right, so any silver linings for you, Joshua? What have you loved hearing about whilst in lockdown? Because as we've said, it's not a particularly positive time, but there are silver linings to everything, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. I mean, a lot of people I know have they've taken up hobbies and they've been broadcasting tutorials. So, my wife's from South America, and a lot of her friends are from the Caribbean. So, sort of scattered over the Facebook pages now, you can learn how to bake bread, how to make different kind of curries. The other thing is, because I co-run a library, we have been instructed to start making videos that we can put out to the public. So a lot of my colleagues have been filming arts and crafts with their kids, and that's just been absolutely wonderful. Everything from painted stones to kind of lipstick murals on the windows, so people walking past can see the kids doing trees and flowers and stuff with different colours of lipstick.
Love it.
That's been really sweet to see.
Yeah.
I think the most encouraging thing though is the way that people have been reaching out to each other. I mean, I suspect this is the same for most people, but just reaching out to people they haven't seen for years and checking they're okay. I really hope that continues beyond this time.
Yeah, I think it's shown how important the sort of connection that we've all got is. That's fundamentally important. Couple of comments we've had. John Sharman apparently has got all of the superheroes tattooed on his arm. So look forward to seeing that, John. And Kay said, Captain Tom, what an amazing man. I think he should become a superhero. I'd like to see Captain Tom.
Who says he isn't already?
Well, he is a bit, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
He is a bit. Yeah, so all good. Now, Joshua, we are conscious that it's Sunday morning and you've got other stuff to do. So I just want to get round to talking to you about what you're up to, talking about your recent book. Thank you for sending that to me, by the way, and sharing some tips and ideas that might help people at the current time. So tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, I think this is always the most difficult part, but I'm married with children. I've been a Christian for about 23 years. About 12 years ago, I trained as a cognitive behavioural coach, and I ran my own business for a few years, just coaching business people how to deal with issues in their personal lives. And during that time, in the last 10 years, I started writing books about what I'd learned. I suppose you'd call them popular psychology books, but essentially they're designed to help people manage their mental and emotional states better. Yeah. So I've been writing those for a few years. I've got into writing children's books recently in the last few years, and that's been going well. And I invent things as well. It may seem completely random, but I work with a guy in America, and we invent kitchen products and hair products as well, but that's probably another story.
Okay. So you've got quite a lot going on then, right?
Yeah, certainly creatively, I live a full life.
Yeah, and And what do you get out of writing? I mean, I like to write. What do you get out of writing books?
I think that there's two things. For me, with the knowledge that I have about emotional state management, there's the joy of knowing that I can actually help people who are at different stages of their development, because, you know, we've all got the potential to learn to manage ourselves better, but, you know, some areas of our lives we're more there than not.
Yeah.
With the children's books, it's just the joy of creating new characters and telling stories, and you know, I won't lie, I enjoy getting the feedback that people like the stories and they take pleasure in them.
Yeah.
What about you?
So I'm writing a book at the minute based on the work that we've done and the interviews we've done on the Kindness Project. But my only book that I've ever published, available in no good bookshops, is on pensions. And it sold alright. I get the odd royalty check through, don't I? Pennies. I don't tell you about it. Clearly, that's going in my pot. But I enjoyed the cathartic process of sharing ideas, which is why I'm really enjoying writing the book about the interviews we're doing on the Kindness Project. But my book is a pensions book. It's very niche. It's very, very niche. But the people who get the niche quite enjoy it, don't they? You didn't.
I didn't.
But the book on kindness, I'm really excited about, and it's really interesting because the fact that we get the opportunity to do this and interview loads of amazing people, you're always learning from when you interview somebody, which is one of the reasons that we really enjoy doing this. So yeah, it's good fun. Talk to me about your recent book that you sent me.
Okay, well, I wasn't actually expecting to write it, because the last psychology book I wrote was about 4 years ago. It was called Your Mind is a Liar. And I thought I'd poured everything useful I had at the time into it. But when the coronavirus pandemic really started hitting, I was sent home from work, on furlough. And for the first week, I won't lie, I had a few moments of feeling a bit panicky, because, it was freaky.
Scary, yeah.
But I was actually quite calm, and I started thinking, well, this is interesting. What's going on? And then I realised that I'd been doing mental focusing exercises and breathing exercises on and off for a couple of years. And I just thought, you know what? This is probably going to go on for a while. Maybe there's something I can do to help. And I'd had over 20 years' experience of personal development. And there's a lot of stuff out there, and a lot of it either doesn't work, or it's just like, having a drink. You feel okay for a few hours, and then you got to deal with reality again. So I thought, what can I put together that will actually help people develop a greater sense of calm in their nervous system? Because even though I trained as a cognitive behavioural coach, to do with thoughts and how thoughts affect the body, the truth is that when stress builds up, it tends to get trapped in the body, and that's a lot harder to deal with. With your thoughts, you could eventually, examine them and actually look at whether you're being reasonable or not. But stress, and especially the stress of people in lockdown, it's going to tend to build up. We're probably going to be hearing a lot more about people just losing the plot. So I looked at what I had, and I thought, okay, I need a couple of easy wins in there. So I'll talk about that in a minute with the sniper breathing. But essentially, I wanted techniques that would help people foundationally be calm more often. And it doesn't mean you'll go around like the Dalai Lama, we should be so lucky to be that calm. But what it does mean is, if you do these exercises regularly, when you feel upset, because we all do, you can calm yourself down a lot faster and have a clear mind.
Okay, so tell us about a couple of these really simple, quick wins, simple exercises that people can use.
Sure. Well, there's a couple in there that I call basic training. One of them I can show you right now. Now, I don't know whether any of you are old enough to remember Action Man.
I do vaguely. Charlotte won't, will you?
No.
Okay, well, let's just say it. Oh, gosh, I'm going to have to reveal my age. But at the end of the 70s, there was an Action Man toy, and he had this really cool feature. Remember, we had no internet, no DVDs, no mobile phones, no nothing. So this may not seem so cool now, but
can I just say the look of shock on Charlotte's face when you said no internet? She was just like, did the world exist?
I could go a couple of days without internet.
Couple of days.
But I'd need my DS, and that wasn't released until like 2010.
Yeah. I sorry, just on a complete aside. What was your first computer, Joshua?
Me? Oh gosh. It was an Acorn Electron, which was the poor cousin of the BBC Micro.
Yeah, I remember that. My first one was a Commodore 64.
I'm so jealous.
That was amazing, and yeah, I was trying to explain to Charlotte the other day that when I wanted to play a game, I had to go into the shop, go and buy a tape, come back, wait for half hour for it to load, and then play the actual game. And she was just looking at me like I was from another planet.
You still have to do that on the PlayStation sometimes. You don't have to leave the house. You just have to go into the store and it's all online.
Yeah, exactly.
But you still have to wait half an hour to 2 hours.
For the download.
Yeah.
Okay. So talk to me about Action Man then.
Yeah, so this Action Man, he had this really cool thing, which was eagle eyes. Basically, there was a little tab in the back of his head, and you'd pull the tab left, and his eyes would go right, and you'd pull the tab right, and his eyes would go left, and you'd take him out into the garden, and you'd build up mound moles, and you'd kill the Russians. I know that's very politically incorrect, but the Cold War was still on then. And what I discovered was there's a guy who wrote a book on the vagal nerve, which is sort of a major nerve in the nervous system. And I'll show you what to do. But if you do this, it actually creates a kind of a reset in your nervous system, and it makes you relax. Okay. It's very, very simple. And I called it Relaction Man.
Relaction Man. I like the phrase. So what do you need to do?
Sorry, say again?
So what do you do to become Relaction Man?
Relaction Man, yes. And in the book, I actually included a link to the original advert if you really want to see it. So you take your hands, you put them together, and you put them on the back of your head. So you have them resting quite firmly on your skull, just above where it sort of joins your spine. And then what you do, I'll say it before I briefly demonstrate it. All you do is you keep your head pointing ahead, and you look to the left, and you just keep looking to the left for between 30 and 90 seconds. Now, the position of your eyes is linked to certain functions in your brain, but basically you keep looking left, and after, for me it's about 30 seconds, but they say it can take up to 90. What you'll find is you'll just feel this sigh escape you, or you'll want to take a deep breath, and that's a sign that your nervous system has done a reset. And then you look ahead, and then you look to the right, and you just keep looking to the right for up to a minute and a half. And it sounds incredibly simple, but on YouTube you get these like clothing hacks. You get someone who can turn my daughter watches them, someone who can turn a pair of tights into like a halter neck top, or they can turn a pair of trousers into, a sort of a crop top and that kind of thing. In your nervous system, there are various hacks, and this is one of them.
Cool, love it. And talk to me. I know in your book there's a technique called sniper breathing. Talk to us a bit about that.
Okay, well, I like action films, and in a lot of films there's hunting, and at the last minute before the guy takes the shot, he breathes out slowly and he takes the shot. And whilst I don't hunt, I presume that is to sort of to steady himself. So I came across this technique by this guy called Dr. Mark Schoen. It's actually called the Schoen technique, but sniper breathing is much cooler. And what you can do within about 40 seconds, if you start to feel anxious, you can actually bring yourself to a really focused state of calm. Again, I'll talk about it and I'll demonstrate it, and it does look a bit stupid, so probably doing this in the middle of the local shop is it's going to get people moving away from you far faster than a cough.
Maybe that's what you want.
But number one, maybe that's what you want, and number two, in the embarrassing dad states, where does this sit? Do you know what I mean? You could really embarrass your kids with this technique.
Or your parents.
That is true. I might have just done my own grave there. Never mind.
Now you're giving me ideas. I'll have to talk to my daughter about it. So what you do is, firstly, you keep your mouth shut and you breathe in through your nose for a count of 5 or 6. Obviously, everybody's lung capacity is different, but and then you hold for a count of 4 or 5. And what this does, it allows CO2 to build up and start to stabilise the way you feel. So you hold your breath for maybe 5 seconds. Now, this is the silly bit, but you need to do it this way. I don't know why. I've experimented doing it quietly. It doesn't work. What you do with your out breath, you breathe out for a second, pause for a second, breathe out for a second, pause for a second. And you do that 3 times, and on the 4th time, you let your breath out. So, shh, 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 shh. I don't know why.
Like,
and you do that at least 2 or 3 times, and I promise you, by the 2nd or 3rd time, you'll be like, oh, I'm all right. This is really cool.
Amazing.
And it just works.
Cool. Okay, we will be experimenting with that. Charlotte does think that sounds like a train.
It does.
But if it's a, you know what? I think all of this sort of stuff, you want techniques in your locker to just help you cope with the current situation, and this sort of stuff is fantastically useful. I'm a firm believer in looking at what you're grateful for as a way to manage stress, but I know you've got a bit of a unique perspective on that. Tell us a little bit about that.
I do, and I mean, gratitude itself as a technique. I mean, a lot of people now have probably read an article that says you should, write down 5 things you're grateful for every day, and this is fantastic. It's sort of moving out of the new age woo-woo into serious scientific study. There are books on gratitude now.
There is plenty of scientific research that talks about the benefits of gratitude in terms of protecting your own mental health, right?
It's true, and before I talk about the technique, I do want to say something about gratitude. I've started to hear from friends that people are going a bit stir crazy, being under each other's feet, and certainly right now it would be easy to look around, be in a bad mood, and say, what have I got to be grateful for? One of the important points about writing out gratitude, writing out things you're grateful for, is to force yourself, because you won't always feel like saying, I'm grateful for lockdown, I'm grateful for not being at work, I'm grateful for being stuck in this house for 3 weeks. So I do definitely believe in the importance of forcing yourself to find things you're grateful for. But the take I have on it, there's a technique in the book called Feel the Fear and Love It Anyway. And when we feel fear or anxiety, a lot of people, they might not consciously know it, but they feel like they can only feel one emotion at a time. I feel scared, I feel anxious, I feel fearful about the future. And certainly right now, the ability to get triggered by a lot less is all around us. But I'll explain this in terms of tastes. It's possible to bring a positive emotion like gratitude and use it to take the edge of fear. So it won't completely eliminate it, but what it will do, it will flavour it. So I don't know whether you like curry. You a curry person?
Yeah.
Yeah, we quite like curry, don't we?
Quite like curry.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you've got
my favourite curry is definitely.
So if you've got a strong curry, you can take the edge of it off it with some mango chutney, or you can have a glass of milk nearby. So you're experiencing both flavours at once. You're still getting the curry, but you're also getting the, shall we say, the more positive flavour to even out your experience of it. So one of the techniques, and it's a bit too difficult to explain here, but essentially you will think of what makes you fearful or anxious, and you'll bring in the flavour of gratitude. You will have already thought of things you're grateful for, and and I teach you how to flavour the fear with gratitude. And it's one of those things, until you actually experience it, it's very difficult to describe. But, think of vanilla ice cream, and then you've got the sprinkles. Think of, actually, in those old westerns when someone's digging a bullet out of someone's leg and they make them take a swig of vodka to dull the pain.
Right.
It's kind of like that, but in a positive way. I've personally used it with anxieties that are deeper than just, there's the coronavirus coming on. Because obviously people have a lot of time to think right now. And during this time, you can come face to face with yourself and your own anxieties about things that were going on before this time. So I found this gratitude technique very useful for calming myself when I'm thinking about things from the past.
So is that as a counterbalance to the stress and fear that many of us are feeling at the minute, right? Yeah. Where can people find your books?
Okay. At the moment, it can be found on Amazon. Within a couple of days, they'll be able to go to smashwords.com, and I don't know how long it takes them to distribute it, but within a few weeks it will be on Apple Books. But at the moment, you can primarily find it on Amazon, any of the Amazon sites.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate you sharing your techniques. And if any of our audience try sniper breathing or thinking about gratitude at times of stress, or the one. So what's the one where Joshua, just show us how the hands go again.
Right. Put your hands together. Put them behind your head. Look to the left for 90 seconds.
And look to the right.
Head. Look to the right for 90 seconds.
Okay,
but don't turn your head.
We are going to be giving that a go. I'm just going to, before I do it, I'm going to find I'm going to take you. We'll go on our hours exercise and we'll find the most embarrassing place to do it. Just see how humiliating it can be for both of us when we do it. See who gets humiliated the first.
It'll be you, because I've done lots of embarrassing things.
Take pictures.
Oh, great stuff. So let's talk about the answers to the question of the podcast, and I might carry, for the first time ever, I might carry this question of the podcast over because I think it's a good question and we didn't give enough time.
We didn't give it the opportunity. We gave it a short time and it still did well.
It still did all right.
Good job, my friend.
Good job, viewers and listeners. But we might keep this open till tomorrow morning, Mark.
I have stolen your phone.
Wait for the joke. First, let's just read out our comments. Desmond Barker said his favourite hero is Spider-Man. Good choice. Trev Robinson likes the Hulk. Mark Halloran said his favourite superhero is me. Modest as well, we like that. John Cook said Scarlet Witch. And David Forsdyke said Daredevil. Just want to read out Dunkirk's, who's, bit touching. The one thing I'm liking about what, we aren't sponsored by Disney Plus. We are talking about this a lot. If you want to send us some cash, Disney, it'll do us a favour, won't it?
Well, we'll just pay for your subscription.
Or send us a free, whatever. I tell you what, I'm liking on Disney Plus as well. Pixar movies
and the shorts,
because I think Pixar are just the best storytellers. They're amazing. And what they're really good at is telling stories about family. So the first 10 minutes of Up,
I've seen you cry to that so many times, and then just turn the movie off. That's the whole movie.
But you know what? I think if Up was restricted to just 10 minutes, it'd be a better movie. It's a better short. That first 10 minutes is and literally I must have seen it 100 times, and it still makes
you don't
me cry.
even watch the rest of the movie.
I watched the first 10 minits, but because it's about family, and I love stories, really emotional stories about family and travel and dreams and stuff like that. I almost did in the classes with my hand. So that's why when Dunkirk was asked about what superhero she admires, the fact that she said her dad, we're feeling you, Dom. We like that. On that note, Oh no, go on, do your joke. Do your joke. Get ready to be Joshua. Get ready to be massively underwhelmed by this amazing joke. Go on.
Okay, what did the fisherman say to the magician?
I don't know. What did the fish say to the magician?
Finish it, please. Is that what he said?
Pick a cod, any cod.
That's not the worst. It's not the worst.
It might be the worst. On that note, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.